Yo, what's up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, back at it again with another video. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick recap of what happened at the CDL Stage 1 Major in the Grand Finals, of course, and on our final day, Sunday, as well as what to expect this coming week. I'm really just going to be covering Thursday and Friday. I plan to get another video out to you guys Friday evening or Saturday morning, so be on the lookout for that. But just want to give you guys a quick overview of what to expect in the first couple days of COD matches, just in case I don't upload something on Thursday evening. Now, talking about the Stage 1 Major, of course, you see I'm repping the home team. Phase up, baby. Phase up, we're on. Won the entire major. Phase looked great. Best team in the game, without a doubt. They went 5-2 in the grand finals, I believe, to take home the chip, and they really looked great against Empire. They only lost one search, so they're 11-1 in search and destroy throughout the year, which is absolutely incredible. Their hard points looked very good against one of the better hard point teams in the game. Of course, Dallas beat who we all deem to be the best hard point team in the game, Optic game in Chicago on hard point. So it really just showed how strong they are in the mode, really, just how good of a team they are. Of course, but by the time they got to the grand finals, Dallas, I think they were just gassed after that match with New York. I felt like they should have played them a little bit tighter, realistically speaking. But I think that matchup with New York just drained them a lot, right? Like it was a long series. They played Faze, New York, then Faze back to back to back. So it was just a very grueling schedule for them. And this is why I said that the winners finals should have been played on Saturday, right? Because the team who loses the winners finals, if they make it back to the grand finals, they have to play back to back to back matches. So that needs to be reevaluated, in my opinion. But Empire looks really good this weekend, this past weekend, of course. And FaZe looked even better. They didn't lose a single series in stage one, and they're 8-0 total. So they are clear cut number one right now, best in the world as it stands. And personally, I think that really the power rankings should hold. The only new entrant into the conversation is New York Subliners, of course. So now I'm going to give you guys a quick re-ranking of the teams. I made a tier list, as you can see on the screen. In the S tier, I have Atlanta Faze, number 1, Dallas Empire, number 2, Optic Chicago, number 3. Of course, New York Subliners is number 4. Minnesota Rockers, number 5. This might surprise some of you, but I do have good reasoning for it. I'll explain in a second. And LA Thieves is number 6. Now, the Rocker, they are one of the strongest search and destroy teams within the game, right? And their hard point has not really been very good. Their control has been pretty solid, admittedly. And I think that that's the reason why they're number 5 in my book. I think that eventually they will get a lot better at hard point. And when that happens, they will consistently start beating some of the top teams just because search is 2 game modes, right? Excuse me, search is 2 maps in every series, right? So if you can steal the searches, then you effectively have a very strong fighting chance to take a series, right? We saw a lot of their series went game 5 and they won the game 5s. So, I think Rocker, a top 5 team. LA Thieves, I think that they're just a really streaky team, right? Like we saw LA Gorillas, they came out, they dismantled them, hit them with a hot 3-0 and reclaimed their spot as the top team in LA. So that's the reason why I couldn't put in good faith, put LA in B tier. I mean, they did go 4-1 in stage 1, so that has to count for something, right? They just didn't have a great showing at the major, and that can happen to anybody. So that's why I put them as number 6, personally. New York is number 4. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? Like, they cemented themselves as the top 4 team with this last major, the way they played. And in stage 1, they played really well. They went 3-2 overall, and they looked great. So that's why I gave New York Subliners the number 4 spot. They only lost to Thieves and Dallas, so they had a great showing. And Rocker, number 5, I told you guys my reasoning. Rocker are a really good team, and I think they'll only get better as the year goes on, and they learn how to play hardpoint more efficiently. But as it stands right now, I still place them in the top 5, realistically, because who would edge them out of the top 5, right? Like, of course, they did lose to Toronto in game 5, but I think that was kind of a throwaway. They should have won that match, and they just have some improvements to make in hardpoint. But to me, they are a team that's in this A tier, and they'll get back to it, I think, in stage 2. In the B tier, of course, we have Toronto Ultra, Florida Mutineers, LA Gorillas, and Paris Legion. I have this in order as it goes, in my opinion. I think that things will shift a little bit. I think that the Ultra may fall behind the Florida Mutineers. Florida Mutineers may inch their way back into the top six. They started to turn things around with the major, and personally, you guys know in the preseason rankings, I had them at number 4, as you can see here. Hello, hello. As you guys can see, I have Florida Mutineers numbers 4 in the preseason rankings, and I think that they will get back to their mantle right in the top 6. But I think it's going to take some time. They have to adjust a little bit to the game and get Skies to be a little bit more comfortable playing his role, right? He was really the X factor in a lot of their series. Awakening and Neptune were playing their roles very well. And Slacked, I mean, he's their entry player, so his role is just hard. Um, it's really just contingent on how well Skies plays. And he started to really pick it up as they made their run through the losers bracket major. But I think there's just a lot of work to be done there, and it's going to take time. But I think Florida will get back into the top 6 eventually. Um, I just don't know when. And I think that somebody, New York, Minnesota, or LA Thieves will get edged out by a team like Florida or possibly Toronto, who just made a big roster change. More on that in a second. But yeah, as it stands, Toronto above Florida and Florida above LAG, LAG above Paris. That's how I see it. And then, of course, at the bottom, we have Seattle and London. So not much of a change there. I think Seattle might need a roster change. I think that I don't know what it is about their sub duo. Looney and Persini, they're great players, don't get me wrong, but it's just not working. So something needs to change. And I feel like they could pick up maybe Venom or somebody from Challengers who's just a really strong sub, who really just needs a shot. And I think they'd be fine. But it depends on what they want to do, right? Like, you can't convince a team to make a roster change, even if it makes sense to all of us. So we'll see what happens with Seattle. Maybe they'll just start playing better. Who knows? And the Ravens, they just picked up Paul from Leicester. He's an incredible player. So I think that they will improve a lot. I think they might find their way into the top 8 somehow. Paul's an incredible player, and I think he could have a very transformative effect on this roster. So we'll see how things go for them. I'm hoping that he has a lot of success in his first few league matches. And I hope this starts a great career for him. In terms of this week's matches, I've gone over everything from the major, of course, the fallout, Dallas beating New York, losing to Faze in the grand finals, the winners grand finals, and then losing to Faze again in the grand finals. Like I told you, what would happen. I said Faze, Dallas, Faze, and that's exactly what happened. So that was the major. Of course, talked about the new power ranking, which you can see on the screen here. And we are now moving on to this week's schedule. So this week we have Atlanta Faze taking on the New York Subliners on Thursday, which is 2 days from now at time of recording. And then we have the Mutineers taking on the Surge. So this should be pretty interesting. I think that Faze Subliners will be a great match to watch. And also Mutineers Surge will be an interesting one to watch. I'm curious to see if the Mutineers have improved lately, if they've gotten any better, if Surge have improved, or if the Mutineers have regressed realistically. I think the Mutineers have definitely been putting the time in, and they've been trying to get better actively. So I think they will have a good showing. But I think that this matchup has potential to surprise. I think Seattle has been trying really hard to get better, and I think that they're going to come and play. Honestly, this is going to be a very tense matchup. Personally, I favor Florida and Faze, of course, as the betting picks, but anything can happen. New York is such a good team, and they do have potential to upset. Same can be said for Seattle. I think they're out to really get some points, and they had a terrible showing at the major, and obviously their eyes, they didn't want to get bounced out without winning. And, the Florida Mutineers, they're pretty hot. They have some momentum coming from the major. They started figuring things out a little bit more as time went on, and I think they're going to carry that into the league matches. Now, on Friday, of course, we have the LA Thieves taking on the Toronto Ultra. This should be a good matchup. We have Insight getting his first reps in the Pro League, of course. He, of course, replaced Methods. Not really too sure about that choice. I didn't really think Toronto needed to make a roster change, but hey, there's a reason why their GM and their staff gets paid the big bucks, because obviously they know. So we'll see how things go for them. Scrims have been going pretty well for the Ultra lately with Insight. They're starting to look a lot better, a lot more comfortable. So we'll see how this goes. I think LA Thieves will also be really trying to play very tight Call of Duty. They don't want to give up on their fundamentals like they did at the majors so many times. And I think they're really going to be trying to prove to these other teams that they're here to stay, right? Like the major was just a fluke and they are a good team. So that'll be an interesting matchup as both teams have something to prove to the rest of the league. And everybody's going to be watching them. I mean, LA Thieves are a very strong team. They're one of those teams that we all know can catch fire and really start to win matches and become a real threat. So everybody's going to be watching that matchup. Same for the Ultra. Um, they've been looking a lot better with Insight. So we'll see how that goes. I'm really interested to see that matchup. And of course, in our next matchup, our final matchup of Friday evening, we will see the Paris Legion taking on the Rocker. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I think the Rocker are looking to rebound. I think if I know Brian Saint and the players on Rocker, they've definitely been putting in the time, practicing up, trying to get a lot better, trying to get more comfortable playing with each other, just figuring out their roles. And I think for that reason that they'll win. How they'll win, I'm not sure. Paris, as we know, is a very, very good team. They're very scrappy. I believe they are 6-4 in hardpoint. Super strong hardpoint team. And they typically win the opening matches in their series. So I think that will continue. In this series, they've been very strong at that. And I don't know. I think the Rocker probably have been practicing hardpoint because a lot of their issues really weren't slang or anything like that. It was just closing games out when they had strong leads and not securing rotations to close it out realistically. So we'll see if they fix that. I think they most likely will have, and I think that they'll look a lot better in the split of the Pro League. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. I have Rocker taking that one, and I have Thieves taking the previous matchup. So if you guys are doing a slip this week, I recommend Faze, Mutineers, Thieves, Rocker if you're going to parlay it. And if not, just take those singles, of course. Faze is a single, Mutineers is a single, Thieves is a single, and Rocker is a single. I wouldn't take handicaps on these matches. They have a lot of potential to upset. The only one that I might take a handicap on is Rocker, minus 1.5. And in terms of maps, I'll let you guys know what they have. So yeah, guys, that'll just about wrap it up for me. Wanted to give you a quick overview of what happened, preview of what to expect later this week, and I'll be back at it again, as my old saying goes, later this week to bring you guys an update video, probably Friday night, maybe Thursday night even. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy all of the COD. This is the beginning of stage 2, first week, so this is exciting. More COD. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the matches. I will, of course, link CDL's YouTube channel in the description down below as always. Be sure to go check it out starting at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. So yeah, guys, that'll just about wrap it up for me. Once again, I hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night, wherever you may be on this beautiful planet. And I will catch you on the next video. Peace.